All right, guys, we're back.
We're back after 4 weeks.
4 weeks away. Sunday night service with Dani and
Dr. Motley.
Dr. Motley. Cheers.
Cheers.
Here's Sunday night, a little communion here on Sunday night. And once again, we are in competition with something. The ACMs are on tonight.
The
Las
ACMs.
Vegas, of course.
And
you would know. And I don't even know who that is. Oh, yeah.
It's going to be like every time we've gone on, there is something that goes on.
I know, it's the Olympics, it's
huge.
the ACMs, but we're back and we are talking adrenal thyroid connection tonight. Two of our favorite things.
It's like
we love adrenals, we love thyroids, and so I'm really, really excited.
Oh, it's going to be good.
Then after it's over, we'll talk about everything that's going on at our offices and all, but we are going to get right in. If you guys are on air, if you are logging on, say that you're here, click your like button, click your heart button, tell us where you're from, all of that good stuff so that we know you're on there, because apparently Facebook has some sort of algorithm and I don't know how they do it. But anyway, it keeps you in the loop. If you have people liking, whatever, thumbs up, thumbs down, hearts, tell us where you're from and all that good stuff. All right, so we're going to talk adrenals.
Yeah, we are.
You deal with a lot of adrenals in the office.
Yeah, as well as you.
Yes, I do too.
Tons of adrenal health
as well. So, hello, Kelly. Kelly's on, and we're going to talk about Kelly Shannon wellness tonight too. And this is over. All right, guys. Do you know 70 to 90% of all medical office visits are for stress-related illnesses, issues?
Wow.
70 to 90%. I know that. I believe that. Fatigue is one of the biggest ones, fatigue and low back pain. Well, hello from Hopkinsville, Kentucky, my favorite. Well, I'm from Kentucky, so hello. 43% of all adults suffer adverse health effects from stress. I actually think that's probably higher.
I think it is too.
I think so. The CDC reports that 11% of Americans 12 and older take an antidepressant. 11%. This is a 400% increase from the 1980s.
Oh, my word.
Approximately 203 million prescriptions in 2011 were written. 2011.
In 2011.
That's the last time we have statistics.
And you know it's probably just gone so much higher.
400% increase for an antidepressant.
So crazy.
1 in 4 women in their 40s and 50s take an antidepressant. 1 in 4.
1 in 4?
My age women. Yeah, 1 in 4. Approximately 63 million prescriptions for Xanax and Ativan in 2011 were written. Xanax, which is a benzodiazepine, which decreases anxiety, is the #1 psych prescription written. #1, Xanax, one of the most highly addictive pharmaceuticals in the world.
It's very hard to get off of that too.
It is difficult to get off, and people die coming off of that.
People have heart attacks.
You bet they do. They have a heart attack. If you don't think you're addicted to Xanax and you've been on it for a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, you are. Yeah. Trust me. Well, I was going to say try coming off of it, but don't do that. Don't dare do that, because it can cause a heart attack. And so you have to wean off very, very slowly.
Very slowly.
I weaned a woman off for about 3 years. In fact, she usually watches on here. About 3 years, and finally got her down to just a teeny tiny little bit. And she ended up having to commit herself into Cumberland Heights to come off the rest of it for 28 days.
And they even feel, I hate to say it, even more crazy, and they just can't, not feeling settled or balanced.
That's exactly right. Approximately 1 out of 75 people may experience a panic disorder. 1 in 75 out of the entire country.
Out of everyone.
Unbelievable. Stress is a top health concern for United States teenagers between 9th and 12th grade, so high schoolers. Psychologists say if they don't learn healthy ways to manage that stress now, it's going to bring on lifetime health implications. This comes from the American Psychological Association. I mean, it's just scary.
People at that age, that young.
Oh, I know.
Especially when their brains are developing, even at that age. I mean, you can't, and then you're hurting their digestive tract, and
then we're putting those little kids on antidepressants and antipsychotic medications and stuff. I know that Dr. Aviva Rome, who's one of my favorite providers, and she wrote the Adrenal Thyroid Revolution we're going to talk about here. She said that they've even documented here within the last couple of years, as early as a 1-year-old who's been put on an antidepressant.
Good.
A 1-year-old child, 12 months old on an antidepressant because the baby was depressed.
How do they know that a baby's depressed?
I know. So we're in a crisis. We're in a health care crisis for sure. But the adrenal thyroid connection. All right, guys, if you're on, hit your button so that we know we're here. Tell us you're here, because it only says there's 25 people on, but I have a feeling there's more than 25 people on there. So hit your heart button. The adrenals, which sit right on top of your kidneys. Okay, so your kidneys are right here behind you. Your adrenals sit on top of your kidneys. They're about the size of walnuts, right? They're kind of triangular shaped, and they shoot out cortisol, epinephrine, norepinephrine, dopamine. Not dopamine. Cortisol, epinephrine, norepinephrine, and
corticosteroids, like mineralocorticoids.
Yeah, mineralocorticoids. When you're under any stress at all, good or bad, right? Good stress, bad stress. You just had a baby, that's good. You got married, that's maybe good. I don't know. In my case, it wasn't so great, but anyway, got married. You got a divorce. You had a new job. What have you? So constant, right? So we're living. You've seen the statistics here. We are living in a constant state of stress. So our adrenals are just constantly shooting out cortisol and norepinephrine and all that. We're never winding down, right? Well, the adrenals and the thyroid are connected so closely. I mean, they are so intertwined that it's very difficult to treat one without treating the other. Yes. Correct?
I don't find that you can treat one without treating the other. Yeah.
Exactly. I believe that. Dr. Aviva Rome says they are both thrown off balance by the same 5 root causes. All right. These 5 root causes throw our stress response into overdrive. And her root causes are chronic emotional and mental stress, right? Chronic emotional and mental stress. Food triggers. Do you know that the average American eats on average 160 pounds of sugar a year and 200 pounds of white flour?
Good.
What? 200 pounds of white flour, 160 pounds of sugar. That's the average American. That's not the one who's going through Dunkin' Donuts every day or who's whatever.
Walking donuts.
Every day, right? 1 pound a day. That averages out to 1 pound a day, right?
Could you
of
believe
both.
that?
81% of Americans now consume more than the highest daily level, highest acceptable level of sugar every day. 81% of Americans.
Oh my word.
Well, that sugar, those food triggers are destroying your adrenals and your thyroid, right? So you've got chronic and emotional mental stress, number 1. Food triggers, gut imbalances. Well, if you're putting 200 pounds of flour and sugar, 360 pounds of flour and sugar, that's just one start of a gut imbalance, right? And then you're talking about all the processed, packaged, bagged, canned, tubed, fake food, all those things, the artificial colors, all those things that create gut imbalance and leaky gut.
I'm just still getting over how much the pounds per year. I'm sorry.
Isn't that crazy? But I don't doubt it. Okay. Then toxic overload. That's number 4, right? Okay. All the things that can create a toxic overload in your body, right? Your environmental, your lotions, your makeup, your hair colors, your lipstick, your nail polish remover, shampoo, conditioner, deodorant, everything that puts a toxic burden on your body, right? And then stealth infections, which that's the master of right there. Stealth.
I love infections. I love them. I love finding them. So
those are the 5 root causes that Dr. Aviva Rome says, if you don't have this book, you need this book. This book came out, I think, last year.
Really?
In fact, she signed it to me. Yeah, February 2017. Dearest Dani, wishing you deep peace and healing, self-love now and always. Sending much love, Aviva. She was in New York, and my friend Lee Russell had her sign it for me at the International Healthcare Symposium. This book is unbelievable. And basically it's, are you sick and tired of feeling sick and tired, right? So this is a fantastic book to read. Easy read. It's great. And then the second book, this is the very first book that I ever read on adrenals when I first got into this about 9 years ago. Adrenal Fatigue by Dr. Wilson. This is hands down the landmark book.
Yeah.
This is the original book on adrenal fatigue. It's phenomenal. If you've read this book, hit your like button or your heart button or something. It is absolutely a fantastic book. Have you read this book?
I've heard of it, but I hadn't read it.
Oh my gosh, it's unbelievable. So these two together, good Lord, you don't even need us. I mean, you don't even need us. I mean, they lay it out in here.
They couldn't go a week without seeing you, Dani.
Oh, they went 4 weeks without seeing us. So anyway, that's what we're getting ready to, that's what we're going to talk about, right?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's great.
So what do you see with adrenals? What do you see with adrenals and thyroid? And
usually, like with each patient that comes in, I will test individually the adrenal ports on the body, because they call them postganglionic ports. So there's areas, guys, on the body that I will put pressure on and do a muscle test or use a biofeedback to find out if the adrenals or the thyroid is the dominant gland that's running the show. Because as Dani has stated before, what happens with stress or chronic emotional stress or any type of infection or any of the things in our list or toxic overload is the amount of stress that goes through your hippocampus. It goes down through your stress centers in your brain. Brain center goes down to your thyroid, tells your thyroid that there's something going on. Mm-hmm. And then your thyroid then sends a signal down to your adrenals and says, hey, I'm telling everybody to get going. Let's get some energy moving. Let's fight this problem and this going. But you, Mr. Adrenals, got to give me some turbo. You got to keep this engine running and running and running and running. So as long as that stress is in your body continuously, it'll start to wear your thyroid out. And coincide, it'll wear your adrenals out. So when anybody comes into the office and I find an adrenal issue, I automatically assume they have a thyroid issue.
You bet.
So I investigate almost to the point ad nauseum where I am looking for the thyroid to show up. And if it doesn't show up, I think there's something blocking me. Like there's something that's hiding. That's how I feel. So when we're in the office and she sends somebody to me or I send somebody to her, and then we see some kind of thyroid level off and their adrenals test well, I am very, I know something's up. So, and then if that is the case, I always go down to the ovaries, try to see if the ovaries are reproductive areas or something.
Always blame it on the ovaries. Always the ovaries.
But that's what, on any situation, guys, I'm going to say this. It usually always leads back to the thyroid or the adrenals.
Yes.
And I don't say that lightly. I'm just saying from my experience, I will go through it and I'll say, yeah, their heart could be having some issues. You can go get testing, but it all comes down to them having no energy. If your body has no energy, you're not going to fight anything, and your stress is going to just wear you out. Because the cortisol just keeps pumping.
Yes.
You know what cortisol does? Cortisol is an anti-inflammatory, but it also weakens your ligaments, so it can give you loose joints, achy back. And high cortisol will actually destroy some of your, not say destroy, that's a very harsh word, disrupts your digestion. So, guys, when we talk about this, in my office, it is the number one thing I look after.
Sorry, Harlan's snoring again.
I love it. He has no adrenal stress at all.
He has no adrenal stress. That little pudgy tubby over there. Okay, so yes. Well, my friend Brooke Bowie, she says, we always focus on the gut. And the gut you've got to focus on, right? And people always say, you got to fix thyroid, She has said from day one, and I've known her for a long time, she's actually my Zymogen rep. It's adrenals, Dani. You have got to fix the gut and the adrenals, Heal the adrenals. There's not a lot of books out there on adrenals, right? There's a ton on thyroid. But if you don't heal the gut, you don't heal the adrenals. You don't heal the adrenals, you don't heal the thyroid. The gut affects the adrenals affect the thyroid affects the hormones. I mean, it works from the basement up. Right?
Yeah.
So the gut, we already know, hands down, you got to fix the gut. Right. You've got to decrease the inflammation in the gut. You've got to control what goes down the pie hole, period. You have to. Otherwise, you're not going to cool down everything else. So that's the big deal. But then you've got the stressors, right? And you've got the stealth infections and the thyroid issues and all of that, and just not slowing down. What do you think about that? And stress, the stress that we can't control, right? And then the stress that we can control that we don't say no to, right? We've had long conversations about this.
And I think that the consistent stress, like you said, that keeps ongoing, if you are ongoing stress, that's complete adrenal. Like your adrenals have to act as your turbo on your engine and keep it running. And like Dani said, if you burn your cortisol out, and she said the adrenals are walnut-sized glands on top of your kidneys. When they get worn out, they shrink. They shrink and shrink and they shrivel up. And if you can't produce enough cortisol, what does your body do? It says, I don't have anything else to give. And the thyroid's telling your adrenals, like, you need to work because there's something going on. What does your adrenals do? It's like, well, we'll go pick on somebody else. I'm going to go after my ovaries because the ovaries have some of the same hormones as your adrenals. And it starts pulling on your ovaries, and your ovaries like, what am I doing? So then people start getting PCOS, endometriosis, fibroid cysts. See how it all works together. It's a give and take type of condition in the body. Like if I don't have enough energy here, I'm going to go pick on little brother or little sister and get energy from them.
That's right. And there's not enough coffee in the world, Diet Coke in the world, Coke, matcha tea, whatever it is you want to drink. There's not enough of that to fix it. There's not enough Vyvanse or Concerta to give you energy, right? To fix that.
Man.
I mean, I'm serious. And I see
true.
these people popping stuff left and right. Well, when you give yourself, when you're adrenally exhausted and you drink coffee, caffeine, I love coffee. So I'm not going to tell people not to drink coffee, but there's always a concern about too much caffeine with adrenal fatigue, right? And so caffeine it stimulates you. It stimulates you. So it's a part of a stressor on your adrenals, right? So if you're adrenally fatigued and you're throwing all this caffeine in there, I mean, your adrenals are just going to have to work harder, and they don't have it. It doesn't do anything to pick you up and make you feel better. No. Nothing at all. In fact, oftentimes people are so adrenally fatigued. So the way I check adrenals in the office, he does kinesiology. I can't do that because I have no idea what he's doing over there. So I use saliva. I do spit tests through a company called ZRT, and they are the leaders in saliva testing, in my opinion. So anyway, if I get a flat line like this, or if I get a super high cortisol level there, many times I don't start with the adrenal adaptogens and the herbs. I don't, because it's too much. It's like giving them caffeine. If you're giving them licorice or ginseng, you know, we start with many times, man, you've got to cut out CrossFit. Ooh, that doesn't go over very well with somebody.
That makes me feel good. It actually helps reduce my stress.
Yeah, but then what I say to them is, do you feel better or worse after you exercise? Do you feel better or worse? Well, I feel better for a minute, Dani, right here, but then I'm exhausted. I got to go take a 2-hour nap. Well, then you are doing the wrong exercise.
Exactly, yeah.
So we've got to bring it down to something like yoga, something like Pilates or meditation, things hardcore weight lifters and CrossFit people and Iron Tribe and Orange Theory and all these people don't like. When we do that. And then, you know, meditation and then going to bed earlier. How about that?
Going to bed, try to get to bed by 9 or 9:30.
9 or 9:30. Amen to that. Totally. You know, and then eating nourishing food, etc. And really working on that for about 3 months before we throw in a ton of adrenal adaptogens. Do you agree?
That's true completely. She's on the mark. I think that if your adrenals are that taxed and you've been telling your adrenals this whole time to work harder, and then you're going to throw something up on to the adrenals to help bring them back down, it just shows that your liver may have to even actually work harder to process everything you've given to the body to help the adrenals. It fries you out. It's almost like it's too much stress. Like when somebody works overtime or does a workout, I tell them, I'm like, if you're doing something to pump out extra amounts of ATP and high amounts of energy and you already have depleted adrenals, you're going to break down your muscles eventually, and you're going to break down tissue faster. So it doesn't exactly 3 months. Sometimes I tell patients, you almost have to be healing for 4 to 5 months before we can even start getting stuff rolling.
That's exactly right. But I mean, you have to start with things that I always tell. So if we'll start with things that you need to do here before we start the herbs and all that, you know, you got to go to bed. We got to get rest, right? Your body heals when you sleep. That's when you make glutathione. That's when your body replenishes, is when you sleep. You've got to be sleeping though, right? You have to be in a room with not a lot of electromagnetic fields and a lot of stress. If somebody's snoring in that room, this dog over here, I mean, if you can't sleep, then somebody needs to go to the other room, right? If you're sleeping in there with a partner, a husband or a wife or what have you, or somebody that's snoring, or maybe you're snoring. You need a sleep study, right? I mean, this is important stuff. So, you know, the sleep bed is for sleep or sex only. Light reading. I've added that to it. You have to laugh with community. You've got to have community. I taught at a women's conference this weekend in Jasper, Georgia. Got back. Oh, it went great. And it was for the Daily Audio Bible community. And it's the women's division of that, of Daily Audio Bible. And this is community. These women have been together a long time and they meet people there. They're your community. You've got to have community. You have to. You have to cultivate it. If you don't have it, then you need to get out and try to find it and cultivate it, because it doesn't, they just don't flock to you.
No.
People don't.
No.
I mean, unless you're Chris Motley, then they do, right?
Stop it.
So, and what about being grateful? I think that we discount that, you know. Be grateful. We wake up and we go to bed going balls to the wall, 90 to nothing, 24/7, without ever even stopping to think, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, God, whoever your God is. Thank you for everything that I have.
Yeah.
Even that dog over there, it's about to drive me nuts. And I know it is you all. Thank you, Lord, for Harlan. Thank you for this house. Do you know if you have a home and if you have a car, you are in the top 1% of wealth in the world? Well, that's enough right there to be thankful for.
Yeah, and to completely aware of gratitude. Basically, they've showed, like on research, how if you're really grateful, that there's certain parts of the brain that light up, and they say that anxiety can't fire when you're really grateful. They've had a lot of research about where they put people in certain states of gratefulness. They said do gratefulness in the morning, midday, and night, and they said it almost trained the brain to where it could not fire anxiety. Because everything they were grateful for, they switch it around. They say, I'm thankful for this instead of being anxious for it. It's a really interesting study.
It is. And I've seen that.
And all things give thanks, yeah.
Right? Find something pleasurable to do daily, right? How many of us wake up and go to bed and never did anything for us that day?
Most, I'd say 90, if anybody can give us a thumbs up, I think 95% of you guys out there don't really do something daily
for yourself. We're only here for a short amount of time, for crying out loud. Do something.
Do something.
Fun.
Have fun.
For yourself. I mean, we work like dogs, but I laugh every day. I do something fun every day. I go jump on my rebounder just for fun, just to see what I can do on there. I mean, anything. I don't care.
I dance.
You know, you dance. I don't dance. I am not a dancer, but I believe in your recovery, right?
Yeah.
Believe in your recovery. You are not adrenal fatigue. You are not Hashimoto's. You are not hypothyroidism, for crying out loud. You're Dani Williamson or Chris Motley or Harlan Jones over here, or, you know, that's who you are. You're not your condition.
You're not your condition.
Right?
And the more you tell yourself that, when we think about how all stress, like every condition we have in nature, I mean, every autoimmune, gut dysfunctions, it all related to stress.
Yes.
All stress related.
Yes.
It truly is.
Yes.
So when anybody asks us, like, where is this all coming from? Could it be emotions? Could it be this? I said, yeah, it could. It could be definitely one of those things. But it's all stress. And if you can build up your adrenals and your thyroid to handle more stress, you're better than 50%, 60% of the people out there. I hope that makes sense. I'm not saying I want you to stay in your stress. I'm saying that if you build up the thyroid and the adrenals to handle more stress, you'll survive a lot longer in this realm we call Franklin, Tennessee, and Nashville, Tennessee. And
this is not the real world, for crying out loud.
Build up the chi, and that's what, especially like with sleep at night between 9 to 11. If you look at they call it the Ori cycle within acupuncture. Right when we go to bed, we're supposed to build up what? We're supposed to build up our hormones. They call it the circulation sex meridian. That means at night before you go to bed.
Circulation sex meridian. Well, I'm out of luck.
Hormones and blood flow are there at the very beginning to help while having sex. That's where you're supposed to build up. Then after that, the adrenals and thyroid rest. So they say you have sex, you rest, and you build up. And then it leads into later on where you start building up the gallbladder and the liver. So then the blood purifies at night. So
what? Well, I totally missed what I'm gonna have to go back and listen to this, because
the beginning of the night is
sex between 9 and 11. That's all I heard.
No. It's like 7 to 9, 9 to 11, and then 11 to 1 is gonna be gallbladder, 1 to 3 is liver. So you go and you have fun time, and then you rest your adrenals and thyroid. That's why it's important when we say get to bed by 9 to 11, because your energy, your chi is in that area wanting to stimulate healing. So if we're up at night doing something on the computer, doing late night work, I know you guys are busy, we're all busy, but when you do that, you don't give your adrenals or thyroid a chance to rest, because they're still shooting cortisol and shooting thyroid hormone to keep you up, to keep doing stuff. So
you're saying we're supposed to have sex between 9 and 11? Is that what you're saying?
That's what the body says. That's what they say in acupuncture, that between 9 and 11 is. So
really,
blood flow, right?
But I have a lot of blood flow. You're getting my blood flow going. It's been a long time.
Hormone. So the points on the meridian, guys, is that right here. They call it right on the corner here. And it goes down the arms, but that's where when we tell, even for ladies and men, stimulates a bit of testosterone.
What does?
Like this circulation hormone period at that time, like you start to get revved up. So
I'm
like
gonna get revved up.
Get
I
revved
may have
up.
to leave. You got to go finish this on your own.
So if you're too tired, like when we're too tired to think about that,
Okay, so women tell me all the time they don't want sex at night. Their partner wants sex at night. They're too exhausted. They've done stuff all day long.
You hit it nail on the head. Like, I mean, it just means that you're adrenally, like, you taxed yourself because you're not letting that part of the meridians accentuate. Like, you're not allowing that part to come out. Like, so we're saying that at night, if you don't feel that way, you've already burnt your adrenal thyroid out. And I'm not sounding negative, but that's the truth of it, though.
So you heard it, ladies. If your excuse is, you can just play it back. Dr. Motley saying, all right, my adrenals are burnt out. I need to rest.
That's the truth.
Okay, so that's interesting. But what about those of us that like sex in the morning? Like we're morning people. Testosterone is the highest in the morning.
Testosterone.
Actually, which is why we put our testosterone on if patients use testosterone.
Mm-hmm.
So some people just like it in the morning, although really in the evening is when you're saying in Chinese medicine is
I will say
the
this.
energy's going then.
It is.
Wow.
Well, usually it's unusual because in the morning though, that's when large intestine is more active. So when you get up in the morning, most people have to go to the restroom to have a bowel movement because that's the large intestine time.
Well,
right?
that's not.
But that's not sex time, right?
No.
But lung leads to large intestines. Look, so then that goes into somebody being like,
excuse me, but I have to go. I'll be right back. I gotta go poop. Well, there's nothing like that telling somebody you got a big poop coming to.
But there are some individuals that are like they have the thyroid body type as we do, and they're super high energy right when they get up in the morning. And some people need that calming effect, super high energy. And so that I say that doesn't go against Chinese medicine. I just think that there's some of us who have overactive thyroids, and some people have overactive adrenals. So sometimes overactive adrenal people don't wake up till later in the day. They're more of the night people.
Okay.
The thyroid people, the people that are up.
They're the ones having sex at night, maybe.
Right.
And okay.
That could be it. So anyway.
Okay, interesting. Well, I didn't know that. I didn't know it was going to go down that road. But okay. So anyway, believe in your recovery, eat whole foods, chew well, all the things that we talk about to protect your adrenals, right? Mm-hmm. Things you don't do, right? Well, you don't get over fatigued.
Yeah.
Right? Correct?
Exactly.
Caffeine, sugar, alcohol, white flour.
Mm-hmm.
All of those things affect the thyroid. I mean, the adrenals and the thyroid. Okay.
Please.
Coffee. I like coffee, so I'm not going to take it. Staying up past 10 o'clock. Energy suckers. I need to write a book about energy suckers because people, your job, your friends, etc., the things that are sucking the energy out of your life, you have got to get rid of. You have to.
You do. You have
got to figure something out. If you're not happy at work, then change your job situation. Or you better change the way you think about it, because I'm going to tell you right now, most of the time people don't get easier to work with.
Yeah, they don't.
Right?
No.
You have to decide that either you're going to change the way you think about them and you think about your job, or you're going to need to find another job. Yep. And there's nothing wrong with that. Get out and find another job.
That's the truth. I mean, if you have it, those expectations always breed resentment, in my opinion.
That's exactly right.
Expectations always breed resentment.
Stop being so harsh and negative on yourself.
Oh, the negative people. So,
right.
And it's amazing. Okay. So if you have a negative person, some people say, I don't know if that talk about how somebody can suck your energy. Just think about someone that you don't enjoy being around. And we all have that. But in your mind, they actually create a hormonal neurochemical response. Like when you think about that person, certain people fire good chemicals and certain people fire bad chemicals. And that thing goes all the way down your brain into your thyroid and tells your thyroid goes, all right, I'm listening to your brain. The brain goes, okay, this person is not good for me. So I'm going to have to fight being around this person. What does that thyroid do? It tells the adrenals, you got to fight. Get up. Let's go. Let's fight all day. But the people who are the good, like the people who don't suck energy, it's like, this person, I'm not being a vampire myself, but they feed me. And it's good to be in that energy and that field.
You bet.
So I'm telling you, I don't care if it's emotional, like when we say emotions, it causes a physical, chemical reaction in the body. It's a little thing. So being around negative people can suck you dry.
Yes, it can. I've gotten rid of them, and we've talked about that on here multiple times, and my life is so much better.
So much better.
I just don't tolerate it anymore. I think it's going through
Not
menopause
her.
too.
I love it. I call her the samurai. Was that the best impression, guys? Samurai. Like when she takes it and she cuts it.
I'd be a good Chinese or Korean mother. I would if I had an accent or if I was Jamaican or something. This Southern redneck accent does not come across as very assertive. But if I was Japanese or something, yeah. Okay. Don't ever eat carbs by themselves. That's a real adrenal sucker for you right there. Yeah. You need some protein with your carbs, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Carbs basically are the body's attempt to throw sugar in there because your ATP cycle, because of all the adrenal running, you're trying to throw sugar in there just to give you energy.
Just to give you energy. But remember, it's just like caffeine. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. No. It's just like revving up something that's not ever going to go anywhere because we got to heal. You have to do the hard work to heal the adrenals. And, you have to give up the need to be perfect. Right? Oh. I think that's huge. That's a big sucker. What?
Yes, they're true.
It's true.
Good. It's good. It is the try.
You can't be perfect. I figured this out. You can't do it all and do it well. No, you can't do it. You can't be a super mom and a super employee and a super wife and a super husband and a super friend and a super daughter and a super sister or super brother. You can't do it all. No. You can't. Something's got to give.
Something's going to give.
Yeah, you bet it is.
You bet it is.
Give. So you got to give that up, And do you have anything else to add on that?
I'm giving yourself completely. I do think when you say give yourself grace, because I think that is the biggest symptoms we see in this area that people come in, and they may not had an infection, they may not had a trauma, but the biggest thing is that they have too much to do, and there's so many things going on, and then they come to us asking us to pinpoint what is the one thing that caused them. I'm like, it's all of it.
That's right.
It's all of it. I mean, it's almost to the point where there's many books out there. I think we talked about before. There some books say you need to stop learning how to multitask because we have our phones now that can do 10 things at once. And you've heard it, and I've heard it, and she's heard it. And we all tell each other don't do so many things at one time. But in this dog eat dog world, we're trying to. We try to outdo the other person. And I actually was thinking about that today. It's like we're in such competition, especially here in Nashville, Tennessee. It's all about competition. It's all about who's better than the other person. And I think they say that the adrenals only release so many ounces of cortisol in your whole lifetime. Ounces, that's it. But that small biochemical can actually cause such huge changes in your body. But I'm thinking just a little gland the size of a walnut can either make you depressed, angry, because there's 3 phases, right? You react to stress, you get adapted to it, third, you get exhausted, fourth, you die. That's the truth. That's how it happens.
You sound like me. Fourth, you die.
Fourth, you die. But the idea of perfection, I've been reading books about the idea of expectations, about attachments and perfection, how that literally is one of the biggest programmers in your biocomputer that cause you to drain as soon as just quick as anything. I mean, we can have infections, we have leaky gut and things of that sort, but the idea of us having to do everything for everybody.
Yeah. I don't do it anymore. And I'm fine not being perfect. And we never were perfect. There was one perfect person. It damn sure wasn't you or me. Who walked this earth. And I finally figured that out. But I was going to say something about adrenals before we get into what do we do about this, right? What are we going to do? Nutrient wise and adrenal herbal wise. I have a patient who the last 2 to 3 years, her adrenal cortisol levels have been off the charts. And I mean, off the charts, elevated, off the charts. And her blood pressure was really elevated as well. She sees me and she sees a really famous doctor in Aspen, Colorado. Okay. So the two of us together. So she had already done adrenal testing with Dr. Gail King in Colorado in Aspen. She came and it was off the charts. And I was reading Dr. King's notes and I listened to her voicemail about it. And I saw it and I was like, so I was trying some different adaptogens on her. Couldn't get it right, but her blood pressure something was wrong. Anyway, I said, look, I don't know what's wrong, but something's not right.
Yeah.
We need to get you to an endocrinologist. I can't fix this. Nothing is bringing your cortisol levels down or your blood pressure down. Guess what? So she kind of dropped off my radar for a little bit. I was at Gray's in February. I was walking out of Gray's at downtown Franklin. She was in there. She jumped up, ran up to me, and she said, Dani, you saved my life. And I said, what? And she said, I had an adrenal tumor.
Wow.
She had a tumor.
Wow.
She got split all the way here. There was and because it's a big deal to take an adrenal gland off of a kidney, because it sits on top of your kidneys. They had to take her adrenal gland off her kidney. Her blood pressure's perfect. Now she's on cortisol. She's having to take Cortef, because the other adrenal gland had stopped working.
Wow.
She had a tumor. I said, what? She goes, well, I said, no, I didn't. I didn't know what was going on. She said, well, you didn't know what was going on, but you knew enough to tell me I need to go somewhere else. And she went somewhere else, and holy cow. So don't mess around with this stuff, because if you can't get your blood pressure down, I mean, this woman had no reason to have blood pressure the way she had. And she was under a lot of stress. I mean, she's, got a lot going on in her life, but nothing like this. And dang, she had an adrenal tumor. I mean, there wasn't enough spit tests in the world to fix that, and enough ashwagandha to cool her down, and enough any of that. So it was really so you have to really think, holy cow, what we're doing. I mean, people can die from this stuff. She would have died. She could have easily had a heart attack, and they told her that.
Yeah, completely. I think.
And it wasn't that I was so smart, and maybe she thinks I saved her life, but I was pretty smart. I just didn't know what was going on. I mean, I couldn't diagnose her because I didn't know, but they could, because they did the MRI and saw the tumor on there.
And I think it's so important when you guys are listening in that if you go to a great practitioner, if you see Dani, you see the people that you trust, and things don't get, fixed, or things aren't getting mended over time, I'm the same in the office. I'm more prone to go ahead and send somebody to a certain specialist to go ahead and see. I'd rather know if it was there or not.
You bet.
Before anything, because I've had a few patients myself that I've sent them off, and they've had cysts or tumors in an area, and some of them were benign. Nothing didn't even bother them at all. But just that presence there. For instance, I've had patients, not switching gears, but let's say gallbladder. I've had patients that have had on acupuncture examinations and stuff that their gallbladder would always show, and they get sick and feel gross. I mean, like throw up almost, regularly, migraines. And I learned out of my mistake, I would say, oh, let's keep trying to see if we can make this thing work. And I was like, well, goodness gracious, they probably have gallstones. You would think as a practitioner when you're younger in your practicing days, but now I would sort of keep wanting to see if we can heal it. Now, if I see it in two visits, 3, I'm like, go get an ultrasound right now. Go see if you have it, because the patient, it's up to you whether you want to get rid of it quick or if you want to, take it over time, because it's up to you or how you feel. We want you to feel better as quick as you want to be.
Well, the thing is, you can't be negligent about any of this. I mean, there's sometimes, I'm sorry, there's not enough kinesiology out there to fix an adrenal. You got an adrenal tumor, or you've got a gallbladder, or you've got a ruptured gallbladder and appendix. I mean, you've got to have enough common sense to go get it.
You're right.
Just like you.
Oh,
just like what happened to you. I mean, you're a perfect example. You could have worked on yourself for a week, or you would have been dead.
I'd have been gone.
So there. So what are we going to do about it? Diet, sleep, and exercise. We get your adrenal testing back, and it's off the charts, or it's very low, or we don't even test at all. Actually, I test less and less and less on a lot of things the more I do things, because I just think, good Lord, we can, let's work on something first and see. So diet, you're going to change your diet. You're going to eat an anti-inflammatory diet, right?
Yep. Okay.
You're going to sleep. You're going to get quality sleep. You're going to sleep as many hours as you can. And you're going to move your body. But if you are tired after you exercise, you're going to change the way you exercise. You're going to bring it more into bar class, or yoga, or Pilates, or meditation, or just deep breathing.
So you're saying that when you do exercise, you're trying to condition the body to see exercise as not a stressor.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
To lift you up, right?
Okay.
And then you're going to get into the nutrients and the adaptogens of the adrenals. The nutrients of the adrenals are going to be vitamin B5 and B6. Okay? B5 and B6. Do you know that 30 million Americans are deficient in B6?
30 million?
30 million are deficient in B6, and 18 million are deficient in B12.
Good.
Okay? B6. B6 is essential for the production of serotonin, right? Dopamine, melatonin, hemoglobin, and converting tryptophan in your body to niacin. All of the things, right? I know we're talking his geek. You didn't know what I was going to say all this, right? So I use a tremendous amount of B5 and B6 in the office. Metagenics makes a product called Cortico B5, B6.
Oh, such a
Great
good
big
one.
bottle. It's wonderful.
Oh,
Just
man,
for
so
adrenals.
good.
And I do 2 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon with patients for about 6 months, really.
Oh, really?
Working
Like,
hard on that one. That's a great product, right? B5 is pantothenic acid. B6 is what? Proxidine. Yeah. And,
I take note, guys. Like when she tells me this, I remember this, so I own patients on Monday.
B5 and B6. Those are the B's of the adrenals. You got to give it to them. And then vitamin C, right?
Okay.
So I've got to give them a ton of vitamin C because we're the mammals who don't make vitamin C, right?
What?
But we store it in our adrenal glands. I think maybe chipmunks or something make vitamin C. I can't remember, but we don't. I mean, us and a chipmunk maybe or something
Maybe
like that.
chipmunk.
Or so groundhog. It's one of those other funny things that don't make vitamin C. Us and them. That's it. But we store it there. So when you're adrenally fatigued, right, you're going to get sick quicker than other people. You're not going to, you may get allergies more than other people. You may stay sick longer than other people. You just don't feel well. Vitamin C is one of the greatest antioxidants out there. It's cheap.
It's cheap.
It's cheap. And so the only side effect is diarrhea. Well, a lot of people are constipated, so they need a little bit of loose stool. So I give them 1,000 milligrams. I start off 1,000 milligrams 3 times a day.
Okay.
Okay.
That's great, yeah.
If you don't poop, then you're still adrenally got some issues going on. So you keep ramping it up until you have loose stools. Yeah. And then you bring it down 500 milligrams or 1,000 until that backs off.
Solid, yeah.
That's right. B5, B6, vitamin C, and then vitamin E. Those are the main nutrients of the adrenals. Vitamin E is an antioxidant. It's going to mop up free radicals, right?
Oh, yeah.
About 400 milligrams of vitamin E.
And
400 to 800.
400 to 800. And she's saying the free radicals, guys, are the small pinballs that basically when you get inflamed, the body will release these they're electrons. They ping out, and vitamin E will go in there and grab them so they don't damage your cells. So that's what she's saying. So no more stress, no more inflammation. So that's what she's saying.
That's
antioxidants.
Right. And then zinc. If you've got really high cortisol, zinc is a good one. Zinc is a good anti-inflammatory, but it's a good antioxidant as well. Yeah. It also helps heal the gut lining, which zinc is one of my all-time favorites. So good. Right? About 15 to 30 milligrams a day. Okay. Now, those are the nutrients of the adrenals. B5, B6, vitamin C, vitamin E, and zinc sometimes.
We had to make an acronym for that. I'm going to keep going.
We can do that. And then, of course, magnesium and iron, you may need those things, and we check for that. But then we get into the fun stuff, the adrenal adaptogens.
She's like, yes.
This is the stuff I love. All of the herbal medicine, right? The things that have been around for thousands of years. Ashwagandha. So if you have low cortisol, we can pretty well use everything. Yes. Ashwagandha, holy basil, rhodiola, eleutherococcus, ginseng, licorice, lemon balm. Those are shashandra. Those are all great adrenal adaptogens that we can use with low cortisol. Ashwagandha is one of my favorite. It works with the mood, the mind, right? It's calming, it's nourishing. It converts T4 to T3 in your thyroid, which is one of my all-time favorite reasons, right?
Completely.
It also helps you sleep at night. If you have insomnia, ashwagandha means the name is Withania somniferia.
Withania somniferia.
There you have it. So you can take it at night, and it helps you sleep at night. It's one of my favorites. Ashwagandha is for people who have a lot of, really, truly deep exhaustion. They're exhausted.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But it doesn't stimulate you so much that it's going to give you anxiety. Because rhodiola could give you too much energy. Although rhodiola is one of my all-time favorites. But you can take ashwagandha when you go to bed at night. Improves your sleep, decreases anxiety, also improves memory.
Yep.
Okay. And learning. It relieves muscle pain. It works with osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, fibro, chronic fatigue. And a beauty about ashwagandha is it can lower blood sugar levels. Oh, wow. So I use it with a lot of my diabetics, right?
Really?
Well, how great is that if you get to come off of some of your metformin and all of that? Now, some people say, I can't take it. It's a nightshade and I've got Hashimoto's thyroiditis. I was listening to Dr. Aviva Rome this weekend while I was at the conference, and she said, that is just straight up. There is no medical research to prove that, period. Now, if you're sensitive to nightshades already, then you may already have a problem, right? But there is no proof. There's no clinical evidence that ashwagandha is going to affect your thyroid.
Gotcha.
All right.
So we have
poorly.
And when adaptogens, guys, remember, are things that you take that will build the tissue within your adrenal glands. So everything she's talking about, ashwagandha, which is perfect, like it helps you sleep. So what you're telling me is this, like it helps you sleep well, helps you rest well, actually gives you more energy in the morning. So it's like, because some people will take a supplement and think it's going to do one action, but apparently ashwagandha does lots of actions.
Well, all of these do. Adaptogens do that.
Because
they will give you more energy if you need it, and they'll bring it down if you don't. Adaptogens are grown, historically, adaptogens are grown in very severe climates where they have to do what? Adapt to the climate, adapt and thrive and grow. Isn't that fascinating to me?
It is so good.
So rhodiola is actually a succulent.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
I did not know that.
No, I just learned that. I didn't know that. Right. So people who struggle with with anxiety and depression, it works. Mental fatigue and brain fog. They've actually done clinical studies with medical school students and testing by giving them rhodiola and to see if it helps their memory. And it does help their memory. Yes. If you have exercise-induced inflammation, it helps bring down the inflammation as well. I mean, these are all adrenal adaptogens that work on other areas of your life as well, right? Fibromyalgia, chronic headaches, low libido, infertility, all right? It also increases serotonin, norepinephrine, dopamine, right? Okay, which is released when you have sex, apparently between 7 and 11 at night.
No. Let me know, 7 and 9.
Oh, 7 and 9? Oh, so no wonder people are logging off there at 7:47. They're all getting to the bedroom, right? Okay. It increases serotonin as well, anti-fatigue. Don't take it before bedtime, rhodiola, okay? Yes, cordyceps. Denise is asking about cordyceps. Unbelievable for adrenal dysfunction. Yes, I use Gaia herbs mainly, but I like Herb Farm. I think Herb Farm is good. Wise Woman Herbals, there's a lot, but I use Gaia in the office. Then we have ashwagandha, rhodiola, holy basil. Holy basil is a wonderful, right? Like Tulsi tea, it's nourishing. And it's like a big old hug. I think holy basil is just like getting a big old hug and taking a deep breath. It is. Oh, it's amazing. It's when you need an overall gentle healing tonic for your mood and your tranquility and all that stuff, right? If you struggle with depression and anxiety or low mood, right? Or insomnia. Sometimes I have people drink holy basil tea before bed. High blood sugar, high cholesterol or triglycerides. It can lower those, right?
Okay.
Yeah. It calms the mind and it promotes longevity. So who doesn't want that?
Why not want to eat that though?
And it also helps with nicotine withdrawal. So if you were stopping smoking, it helps with nicotine withdrawal.
I didn't know that.
See, there you go. And also improves your immunity with common colds and bronchitis. Holy basil.
Holy basil.
You need to use more of it.
I will say this. With holy basil, I knew that it helped with adaptogen issues with the adrenals. I had a lot of patients that would come in with lung issues, and they would have like childhood bronchitis, childhood chronic sinusitis, and they tested well for holy basil, but I always thought holy basil was only for like the relaxing and such. But I read more on holy basil, and it does a lot of things.
You bet it does.
Anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, antiviral. It does a ton of stuff.
Yes.
That with ashwagandha, I was so surprised. Ashwagandha, I knew a lot of bodybuilders that use ashwagandha because it helps calm their adrenals down. They actually can build more muscle. And helps with creatine production. If
you've used any of these adaptogens, click your like button or your heart button. So we have ashwagandha, rhodiola, holy basil. Then we get into eleutherococcus, which is one of my all-time favorites and one of the most well-known studied adrenal adaptogens out there. Eleutherococcus is for those people who are under chronic long-term stress, right? Single moms, taking care of aging parents, or you've got a husband or wife that's giving you stress. You're in a bad job. You've got teenagers that are giving you, what have you. Chronic long-term stress, Eleuthero. When you don't know, choose Eleuthero. That's how I remember it.
You got to get on the hat. I'm not kidding.
Right? That's right. It is amazing for mental clarity, right? Anti-stress increases brain function, increases your immunity, because people who've been under long-term chronic stress, night shift workers, it increases their immunity. Night shift workers need to be on Eleuthero because we know that night shift workers have a decreased life expectancy for a fact. Osteoarthritis, right? It builds muscle and prevents its breakdown during aging as well. Yeah, Eleutherococcus is one of my favorites. And then we get into, those are all safe for low cortisol. Now you're going to get into, and these are safe for low cortisol, but not high cortisol. Licorice, right? Licorice, that keeps your cortisol levels around longer.
Gotcha.
Licorice will bring up your cortisol levels. You would never give licorice to someone with high blood pressure or high cortisol levels because it'll only make it worse. Okay. That's exactly right. Licorice has been around so long. It was found in King Tut's tomb. Did you know that?
Hey.
It also helps with stomach and bowel issues because I have it. It's in a lot of my GI formulas at the office, like Ultra Inflamex and GI, whatever, all that stuff I use for guts. It has aloe and licorice and all that in it. I love licorice. Then you get ginseng. Panax ginseng, which is the king of all herbs, right? Helps with low cortisol. It also helps lower blood sugar levels. Okay. Do you use ginseng in the office?
I do actually use ginseng.
Yeah.
I don't use as much licorice that I would like to.
Yeah, I use quite a bit of licorice in the office. I use less ginseng than I do licorice, but ginseng is in one of my formulas there. And then there's Shishandra. Do you use Shishandra?
All the time.
Which is Chinese medicine, so of course
all the time. Shishandra. Yes.
Yes. People who struggle with brain fog. Do you use it for that?
With individuals that have overproduction of yeast and yeast toxins, Shishandra is so good because it also is a natural glutathione producer.
Yes,
in the liver.
It's liver protective, detoxifies, and clears hormone disruptors.
I'm telling you, I've had people come in literally and they have, tight neck, guys, and you guys will have brain fog and times where you feel spacey. And if you get a test and find you have high yeast, Shishandra knocks it out really well.
Yeah,
but you have to be careful because Shishandra is very strong. That's why she's saying these will help with the low. If you take anything that's a stimulant, especially for the adrenals, I'm almost to the point where I'll give them one every other day until they can build up because it builds up in your blood and into your tissue. Yes,
yeah. I'm a big believer of adrenal adaptogens. I love them. Again, I use Gaia. If you all want, I have it's about 2 pages. It's a handout that I made and I give it to the patients in the office. If you guys want this, just put your buttons or say yes or yes, you want this. I'll put this under files on the Dani Williamson page if you want it. And it lists all of the adrenal adaptogens, the dosing, and everything.
They love that.
You think so? Well, if you want it, let me know and I'll put it up there.
What vitamin C do you recommend and want to know?
Well, I use straight up, Dr. Rome and
Stephanie just said it. Buffered vitamin C in the office is
buffered.
The best.
It is. It's buffered. Straight up buffered ascorbic acid is what they recommend for your adrenals.
Okay.
You don't need a fancy, expensive vitamin C. Put your money in your adrenal adaptogens because you want to make sure you have organic, no pesticide on your herbs. You want to make sure you've got excellent adrenal adaptogens and herbs. Your vitamin C does not have to be a very expensive. Ours is $17 for
mine's $15 sometimes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
How about I think you already answered this, but China, she said, can you use ashwagandha for high cortisol? And it definitely.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. It'll help bring down cortisol. Ashwagandha, rhodiola, holy basil, eleutherococcus you can use for high or low cortisol. Licorice and ginseng you would only use for low cortisol. Okay.
It's important that you go on the website and print that off, really, guys, because I'm telling you, this is a good little sheet I made it up. Just go read that and study it before you start taking. How about CBD and ashwagandha? It has alleviated Leslie said her insomnia.
You bet, Leslie.
Can you function after you take both of those? I love it.
Oh,
I know
yeah.
you can.
I'm telling you can't. I can't say enough great things about CBD. And if y'all want us to do a night on CBD, we'll do it because it is one of my all-time favorites.
Leslie's killing it. One other person asked us how to spell Eleuthero, and then Leslie just did. Thank you, Leslie.
High five. Eleuthero. Yes, Eleuthero.
Can you boomerang that? High five.
So just to recap, because we're almost finished here, we've only got a few more minutes. You are going to decrease stress, get rid of the soul suckers, clean your diet up, figure out where your stressors are coming from and take care of those and nourish yourself, right? Put yourself first for a change. We don't tend to do that very often, right? You've got to eat well, sleep well, move well, poop well, decrease stress, and have community. I mean, it works for everything. There's not one thing that doesn't work for it.
It doesn't.
Right?
You keep going.
Take a few supplements, surround yourself with great people, and, live life, because we got one shot here, right?
One shot.
I don't know. Maybe we got a whole bunch of shots. I don't know. I've got friends who say, Dani, you don't know that. I said, well, okay. So anyway, when I say it, I'm not trying to offend anybody.
You're not at all. I think that anything now, guys, that increases inflammation. What we're saying is, as you live this hard life, as you keep going, your cells have to eat, process, poop, and rest.
Yes.
And the harder you push, the harder your cells push, the higher your inflammation. And when she's talking about your diet, you can't add anything in your life that keeps increasing inflammation, because we're already inflammatory beings.
That's right. But your body, I'm telling you, will recalibrate itself naturally when you begin to get these things in order.
I tell you, when you say community,
it just does.
It does. When you say community, you know what one of the highest, I read there's 2 other studies about the effects of being around loving people, what it does around the people, like the amount of inflammation in the cell produces. It's almost like the cells are nurtured in the body. Like they don't feel like they have to run from a problem. So they don't literally excrete a lot of waste. It's almost like they process their info so much more efficient, because they call it autophagy. It means that the body is able to recycle the stuff in your cells because they're at rest. So if you're around people that make you rest, your cells are at rest. And I'm telling you, it keeps you out of inflammation. And it sounds kooky, but a guy won a Nobel Peace Prize off of this.
Isn't that something?
A little Japanese professor. And it's just amazing. So anyway,
so for me, I just said in closing here that our bodies will begin to recalibrate naturally when we address the root causes and remove the obstacles standing in the way of our whole body healing, right? Emotionally, spiritually, physically, mentally. Take the risk to change whatever it is to fulfill your dreams.
Yes.
What's the worst that happens, right? Take the risk to do whatever it takes to fulfill your dreams.
Oh, my word.
We don't have enough time to waste in a bad job or a bad situation or what have you. Figure it out, take the risk, make the U-turn, and get back on track and do what it is you love. Because until you do, you're going to be playing catch up, trying to feel better. And that's all I have to say about this. I mean, if you're going to heal the adrenals and the thyroid, you've got to take care of all the extraneous things going on in your world, as well as cleaning up the diet and the sleep and all of that. But I am telling you, I can't stress enough how much all this other outside stuff destroys your health.
Yeah,
and you think you're just stuck. You're not stuck. You're never stuck.
You have a choice.
You have a choice. We all have a choice. I've had to make hard choices in my life and make things, change things, and do things. We have a choice.
You do. The risk.
And I am so grateful that I took the risk 4 years ago to do what I do now. Or I made a choice 15 years ago to get out of a bad marriage, right? Yeah. And I wouldn't trade anything for it. Those were hard years on food stamps and a medical card and trying to go through school and yelling and screaming and raising kids. But I had a choice, and I made a choice. You've got a choice as well to be able to change things.
Your risk tonight is to think about, will you let go? That's your risk. Can you let go of the things that will pull you out of alignment? All our lives, we're in this whole realm where we want to live in love, and there are people and things out there that don't harmonize with us. Not that they're bad things or people. They just don't harmonize with us. And all the while, we don't like their tune when we hear it, and there's a reason for it. Mm-hmm. But all the while, they call it cacophony in music terms. Harmony is when you hear somebody harmonize with another person, you harmonize. But if there's somebody else that doesn't really fit in with us, that's called cacophony. The bad part is that the other person is wanting you to harmonize with them, but your body says, I don't want to harmonize with them. And that pulls you out of range. It pulls you into this realm, out of your own comfortable sound. That's the risk. The risk is, do I realize that that person or that thing's not good for me? Like, do I let go of it? Letting go is your risk. And so I'm telling you, it'll heal you. It'll keep you in your range. It'll keep you in a non-stress zone if you can keep yourself out of those relationships. And
so our challenge to you then until next week is to figure those things out.
Can you take the risk?
Can you take the risk? Can you get yourself moving in the direction of getting out of those situations?
You just told it like it was tonight.
Well, there you go. Well, we're done. Woo! It's Sunday night service. Yes, we're back. We're on fire. Next week, guess what? We're talking about anxiety. Next week is anxiety. Woo! The week after that is depression.
I'm going to get a little anxious about it.
Is depression. And then we're going to have insomnia and constipation and this.
We got videos.
We're going to talk about. We are going to talk about this book right here, Doing Harm.
I want to read this book.
Holy moly. We're going to talk about the truth about how bad medicine and lazy science leave women dismissed, misdiagnosed, and sick.
I got to read that.
So we're going to talk about discrimination in the healthcare field against women, how women are just discounted, that they're depressed. They're depressed.
I'm gonna read
or,
that.
You just need to eat less and exercise more. I can't wait. I just listened to an hour-long interview with this woman. I ordered the book, and I am so excited. I got to read the book. It's 300 pages, but we're gonna get this done.
You can sleep on it.
I'll just sleep on it, and so I'm gonna go to sleep early. But since I'm not having sex in my bed,
hey,
I can sleep 7 to 9. Well, I've already almost missed my chance. But hey, listen, we got a lot going on at our office. If you need to charge, if you need to log off, that's fine. But
2 minutes.
Kelly Shannon, 1 minute for me. Kelly Shannon Wellness. My friend Kelly Shannon is working with me the next 6 weeks on trying to build strength, increase muscle mass and bone strength.
Yep.
Right? And she's opened up her own place, Kelly Shannon Wellness, over on General George Patton Drive. Go like her Facebook page. Kelly Shannon Wellness. It's Kelley. She's on here tonight. She is the bomb. She's so excellent.
She's like a big ball of positive.
She is just nonstop. And so I'm so proud of her. You talk about somebody stepping out and going out and doing something on her own.
Yep.
This is a woman who's done it.
And it takes so much courage and
you bet it
to
is.
do that. It really does.
You bet
it is. Like when you do your own office, when you first start out, you're like, I hope people are going to come see
going to show up. So I want
really
you to show up. And she's got amazing things there. An infrared sauna like we do. She's got the Rejuvenator, the Ricky Rejuvenator table. I'm proud of her. So we got a lot going on at my office. My nurse got married last week. She comes home Tuesday to work.
Yeah.
So she's been gone all week long. I can't wait to talk to her about a honeymoon.
My word.
I was giving her all kinds of advice.
You have a new person working at your office?
Ginger Morgan is working there now. She's doing health coaching. She's doing wellness coaching.
That's awesome.
She's going to be.
Dan told me that.
And she is actually going to be setting up the yoni steaming, the veggie steaming, the biomat, and the sauna for me. So we're in the process. I've just had 5 months going. I haven't had time to get it, but everything's ready. The herbs are here, so we're all excited about that. Busy at Integrative Family Medicine. So we've got some big announcements on Wednesday. We'll be sharing a video, Allie and I.
Oh my word, you're killing it. We are at the office. We're just doing, we have fun. Follow me on Instagram and at Dr. Motley. We do a post this week. We're going to do all about leaky gut this week. And we're going to talk about how the effects of leaky gut on the different body types. And I send a video out. I do some dancing because I love to dance. And Dani and I we always shoot back and forth. If we don't talk to each other for a little while, we kind of miss each other. And I'm like,
we do.
I got to find out what she's doing.
I know. We didn't see each other for a long time.
No, it is. It's like, it's just that long, like we need to, somehow make pigeons or something. Where we
carrier pigeons. But we're back now. We are back for the next 6 or 7 weeks. We got stuff going on. And
I'm telling you, we got a lot going on.
My challenge to you is to take the risk, figure out what it is that you need to change to make your life happier, healthier, and wholer. That's not a word. Wholer. More whole. And do it. Between now and next week, let's figure it out. Do the hard work. Take the risk. Stay centered. And let's get it done, because I know what it's like. You're not any busier than me, than him, than all of us. We're all busy around here.
Yep.
So let's make sure our busyness is really productive.
Exactly.
Because we can be very busy without being productive. And let's just nail it down now, because my job and our job is to help you stay around and be happy, healthy, and whole for the next 50 years.
Totally. You guys, the risk. Find out what your attachments are, your healthy ones, your unhealthy ones. And realize, remember, like there's very famous, like remember the scripture said you're going to have to leave mother, father, brother, sister. And you have to turn. Why? Because they knew that there's unhealthy attachments. Those attachments will stress you to cortisol and your adrenals and your thyroid all your life. And we want you to live happy and to have fun.
That's right. Have fun. All right. We're going to have fun. Have a good night. Thank you, guys. We love you so much. We're glad to be back. It's been way too long.
It has.
All right. Love you.
Love you. Bye. Oh, that was so good.
That was fun.
You killed it.